Hey, Jason here from Simply Swider. So if your microwave fan won't turn off and it's driving you crazy, don't worry. In this video, I'm going to show you exactly how to fix it. Good news is this is usually something you can handle yourself in about 15, 30 minutes without calling someone like me out for a $200 service call. Just remember, we'll be working with electrical components, so always unplug your microwave before starting any repairs. Before we get started, if you run into any questions, jump into our Facebook group, links in the description. We've got thousands of people helping each other fix their appliances, and I pop in there daily to help out. All right, so here's the deal. I've been fixing microwaves for years, and the fan that won't shut off is one of those problems that gets people really frustrated. You finish heating up your leftovers, and that fan just keeps going and going like it's stuck or something. Most of the time, it's going to be one of a few common culprits. Could be a clogged grease filter, a control board acting up, maybe a thermostat that's gone bad, or even a fan motor that's seen better days. Don't stress about it though. We're going to walk through each one of these step by step so you can get that thing working right again. Let's start with the simplest fix, that grease filter underneath your microwave. You might not think this little guy is a big deal, but trust me, when it gets gunked up with grease and dirt, it can make your fan run constantly. Here's what happens. When that filter gets clogged, your microwave thinks it's overheating because the air can't flow properly, so the fan just keeps running, trying to cool things down. I had this customer call me out last month and she was convinced her microwave was broken. Turned out to be nothing more than a nasty grease filter that hadn't been cleaned in probably 2 years. You can see me pulling out the filter right here on the screen. If you look at yours and see clogged holes or just a thick layer of grease and grime, that's your problem right there. Good news is this costs you nothing to fix, just some dish soap and hot water. All right, so what we're going to do is unplug that microwave first. Safety first, people. Then slide out that grease filter and get a sink full of hot soapy water going. Let that thing soak for at least 10 minutes to loosen up all that grease. Then grab a soft sponge or soft bristled brush and gently scrub away the grease. Work in circular motions to get into those mesh holes. Don't use anything harsh like bleach, steel wool, or abrasive cleaners. That'll just corrode the filter and then you're buying a new one for 15 to 20 bucks. Once it's clean and dry, slide it back in and fire up your microwave. 9 times out of 10, that fan's going to behave itself again. If cleaning that filter didn't solve it, we need to look at the brain of your microwave, the control board. Now, this isn't the most common cause of a fan that won't shut off, but it definitely happens. The control board is what tells all your microwave components when to start and stop. When it goes bad, it might keep sending that run signal to the fan even when everything should be cooling down. You can spot a bad control board with a visual inspection. Look for any dark spots, burn marks, areas that look melted or discolored, or components that appear swollen or cracked. These are clear signs the board has failed and needs replacement. I remember this guy from our Facebook group, Mark, posted about his whirlpool where the fan wouldn't stop and the control panel was acting all wonky. Soon as I saw his photos, I could tell that control board had some heat damage on it. You can see on the screen right now where we're looking behind that grill above the door, that's where your control board lives. If you see any of that burning or discoloration I mentioned, you're looking at anywhere from about $30 to $250 for a replacement, depending on your model. Replacing it isn't too bad if you're comfortable with basic repairs. You'll unplug everything, remove that grill, disconnect the wires, and here's a pro tip: snap a photo of those wire connections before you take them off. Makes putting everything back together way easier. Then it's just a matter of swapping the old board for the new one and reversing the process. Another thing that can cause this problem is a thermostat that's gone bad. The thermostat is basically the temperature sensor for your microwave. It tells the fan when to kick on and when to shut off based on how hot things are getting inside. When that thermostat starts failing, it might get stuck thinking your microwave is always too hot, so it keeps that fan running constantly, or sometimes it just stops communicating with the fan altogether. Either way, you're going to have a fan that won't behave. Now, to figure out if this is your problem, you're going to need a multimeter, about 10 or 15 bucks at any hardware store if you don't have one. You can see right here how we're testing this thermostat for continuity. You'll find it behind that grill, usually connected right to the fan assembly. Set your multimeter to the continuity setting. It usually looks like a sound wave symbol. Touch the red and black leads to the thermostat terminals. If the meter beeps or shows a low number, the thermostat's working. But if there's no beep and the display shows all or infinite, you've found your culprit. The replacement part's going to run you anywhere from about 12 to 45 bucks. Replacing it is pretty straightforward. Unplug everything, remove the grill and control panel to get access. Then it's just a matter of unscrewing the old thermostat and screwing in the new one. Make sure you get one that matches your exact model, though. These aren't universal parts. Here's one that really throws people off. Sometimes the fan motor itself goes bad. I had this reader contact me about his Maytag where the fan was running even with the door open and the microwave completely off. That's like having your car engine running with the keys out of the ignition. Something's definitely not right. What happens is the fan motor stops responding to the control signals from the main board. It might get stuck in the on position, or the internal wiring starts breaking down so it can't receive the stop command properly. You can test this the same way we tested the thermostat, with that multimeter checking for continuity. The fan motor is going to be up toward the top at the back of the unit. Pull it out and test across the terminals. 0 ohms means it's good, no reading means it's toast. If you need to replace it, you're looking at about 20 to 30 bucks for the part. The repair's a bit more involved though. You'll need to remove the turntable and glass tray so nothing breaks, take off several panels to get access, disconnect the fan blades, and then swap out the motor. It's definitely doable if you're handy with tools, but this is probably where some folks might want to call someone like me if they're not comfortable taking their microwave apart. Now let's talk about something that doesn't get enough attention, the damper assembly. Trust me on this one. I've seen plenty of microwave fans that won't shut off because of this little guy. Here's the thing about damper assemblies. They're basically the gatekeepers for your microwave's airflow. When they get stuck or fail, your fan thinks it needs to keep running to maintain proper ventilation. Don't ask me how I know that, but I've replaced more of these than I care to admit. You can see on the screen right now where the damper assembly is located. It's usually connected to the exhaust vent on the back or top of your microwave. The part typically runs you about $24 to $49, so it's not going to break the bank. So what we're going to do here is check if that damper is moving freely. If it's stuck in the open position, your microwave's going to think it needs to keep that fan running. The fix is pretty straightforward. We're going to need to replace the entire damper assembly since these aren't really repairable. All right, so here's how we tackle this. First, we're going to unplug the microwave. Safety first, always. Then we'll remove the exterior panels to get access to that damper assembly. Once we've got the old one out, it's just a matter of installing the new assembly and making sure all the connections are tight. Here's something that catches a lot of people off guard: door switch issues. Now, here's what I've learned over the years. When your microwave fan won't turn off, sometimes it's because the unit thinks the door is still open, even when it's not. The door switch is what tells your microwave when it's safe to operate and when the fan should cycle on and off. You can see on the screen right now these little switches. Usually, there are multiple door switches on most microwaves. When one of these goes bad, it can send mixed signals to the control board. Trust me on this one. I had a customer last week whose GE microwave fan was running constantly, and it turned out to be a faulty door switch. The microwave thought the door was open, so it kept the fan running as a safety feature. So what we're going to do is test these switches with our multimeter. With the door closed, each switch should show continuity. If we're not getting a reading, that switch has gone bad and needs replacement. The good news is these switches are pretty affordable. We're looking at about $10 to $18 per switch. The tricky part is getting to them since they're usually mounted behind the control panel. Don't ask me how I know that, but you'll want to take your time removing those panels to avoid damaging any of the plastic clips. All right, so let's talk about one of the cheapest fixes you might encounter, the microwave relay. Now, here's the thing about relays. They're basically the switches that control when your fan turns on and off based on signals from the control board. You can see on the screen right now this little relay. It's usually a small rectangular component that plugs right into the control board. When this thing goes bad, it can get stuck in the on position, which means your fan's going to keep running no matter what. The great news is we're looking at probably the most affordable fix on this whole list. These relays typically run about $4 to $8. Don't ask me how I know that, but I keep a few of these in my truck because they're so common and so cheap to replace. So what we're going to do here is locate that relay on the control board. Most of the time you can actually hear when a relay is stuck. It'll either be constantly clicking or completely silent when it should be switching. The easiest way to test it is just to swap it with another identical relay on the board if there is one. Here's how we tackle this repair. First, we're going to unplug that microwave and remove the control panel cover. Then we'll carefully pull out the suspect relay and either test it with our multimeter or just replace it with a new one. Trust me on this one, for $4 to $8, it's usually worth just putting in a new relay rather than spending time testing the old one. All right, so that's how you tackle a microwave fan that won't turn off. Here's your quick troubleshooting checklist. First, clean that grease filter. It's free and fixes the problem 70% of the time. Second, inspect the control board for burn marks. Third, test the thermostat with a multimeter. And finally, check the fan motor itself. Work through these steps in order, and you'll solve this problem without the expensive service call. Most of the time, one of these fixes is going to solve your problem and save you a bunch of money on a service call. If you guys know someone who's having appliance troubles, please send them the link to this video or a link to my channel where I have tons of other videos showing how to fix pretty common issues with appliances, sometimes for free or as little cost as possible. It sure beats having a repairman come out and spending several hundred for them to fix it when it could be something so simple. If this helped you get your microwave working again, hit that like button and drop a comment below. Let me know which fix worked for you. Really helps other people with the same problem. And if you haven't already, please subscribe to the channel. We'll get this out to more folks who need to save some time and money. Thanks for watching, and I hope you guys have a great day.